Be'ur Mishna 8. Explanation for Mishna 8. Ein ogdim et lulav. We do not tie the lulav. We're going to say there's also going to be a commandment of igud lulav, taking the 4 kinds and tying them together. So it says, Ein ogdim et lulav. You cannot tie for example, the lulav and the hadas and the arava. It says, don't tie them im hadasim ve'aravot, with the hadasim and the willow. Ela bemino. You need to use one of the 3 species to tie them. In order then, you need to use either the arava or the hadas or the lulav. The easiest thing to use is the lulav. That's what we use. We use the lulav to tie them together. Kegon be'alim shel lulav. You can use, for example, the leaves of the lulav, or be'min mishar haminim shebo. You can use the hadas. You take the stick of the hadas and you tie it, whatever you want. Yeah, it's not. We don't use it because it's not so practical. It doesn't stay so good. The lulav stays the best. This is according to whom? This is according Divrei Rabbi Yehuda. This is according to the Rabbi Yehuda. Bagmara mevuar ta'amo. The Gemara explains his reasoning. So it looks like they all need to be tied together. That's what it looks like. Now, why did he decide that it needs to be tied with one of the species? Maybe it can be tied with something else. Lefishu sover, because he says, lulav tzarich eged. It says you need to put all the species together. Needs to be together. Sheneemar, because it says be'arbat haminim. It says when it comes to the 4 species, velakachtem lachem, and you should take to you. Veneemar, and it says velakachtem agudat ezov, and the word velakachtem also appears, and you should take a bunch of ezov. You know, I think it was about the Metzora, I think it's talking about over there. And you take a bunch of ezov, and a bunch means tied together. ולומד הוא בגזירה שווה, and he learns ולקחתם here ולקחתם there, מה להלן אגודה, just like in ezov it needs to be tied together, אף כאן אגודה, also over here it needs to be tied together, and you learn from ולקחתם. הילקח אין עוגדים את הלולב, אלא במינו. But therefore you only do the lulav in one of its kinds. שאם יגדנו במין אחר. It says, why? You can do it in another kind. He says, you can do it in another kind. Why not? נמצא מוסיף מין חמישי ועובר על בל תוסיף. It says, you're going to do it with a rope. The rope is not part of the 4 kinds. And you put together now 5 kinds. Yeah, whichever rope you're going to put. Nobody says to put plastic on the lulav or to put whatever kind of rope you're going to say. Yeah, so you have to use one of them. That's right. Rabbi Meir disagrees. Rabbi Meir says, I don't agree with you. So this is according to Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda says it learns velakachtem, it means to do it from the same one. From the same one. Why not the 5th kind? Because the 5th kind is not part. It says 4 species, and you're adding. It's like adding another thing for the tefillin. It doesn't say 5 things in the tefillin. It says 4. Same thing here. Rabbi Meir says, afilu b'mshicha. It says not true. You can tie it even with a string that is not out of the 4 kinds. Yeah, wool. String made of wool. I don't care from what. Bechevel, in a string. שלדעת רבי מאיר אין הלולב צריך אגד. Because Rabbi Meir says the lulav doesn't need to be tied. What do you mean? Do you have לקח? Yeah? How come you don't need ties? שאינו דורש גזירה שווה דלעיל. That he doesn't learn the גזירה שווה דלעיל. Let me just explain this a little bit. גזירה שווה is a place in the Torah where you have one word, another place in the Torah you have the same word, and the sage says this word and this word are connected, therefore you learn the halachas from this to this. Now, it's not every place in the Torah that you have a word you can do that. It's not. The Chachamim were given down which places in the Torah are given. And the Chachamim know there's like 300 of them, or Gzerot Shavot. It doesn't matter the number. The disagreement, so they're going to agree on 280, let's say. There's 20 of them where they're going to be disagreeing. So he says, Velakachtem over here, I don't learn it. So he needs to explain it
Why he doesn't agree?
Why he doesn't agree? In other words, he says, I have another part. I don't learn ולקחתם over here. I learn another word and another thing because Rashava that you guys don't learn. And each shita is going to have advantages and disadvantages. But nevertheless, this is what Gzera Shava means. Okay? So it says, so they ask him, so why is the customer, you see everybody is doing it. So it says, En ogdim ela lenoi bilvad. It says the reason why people tie it is to beautify the mitzvah. Yeah? It's like beautifying the mitzvah. It's not a problem.
Electrical day.
Yeah. Exactly. He's saying, what? It's a problem if you're going to take silver and put it in your talis? Are you adding to the mitzvah? You're not adding to it. You're beautifying the mitzvah. You're not adding. So the same thing over here. You're not adding. You're just putting something. It's not adding to the mitzvah. You're tying it. You put it in a bag. That's adding to the mitzvah. Hilkach mutar le'egod et halulav afilu shelo b'mino. Therefore, since it's not a mitzvah to le'egod, if it would have been a mitzvah le'egod, you need to le'egod from the thing, because it's the mitzvah itself. Over here it's not a mitzvah, just a bag, just a tool. Yeah, ve'en beze mishum tosefet shel min chamishi, and therefore there's no addition of a fifth kind, according to Rabbi Meir. And Rabbi Meir is going to try now to bring a proof. Amar Rabbi Meir, I'm going to give you a proof. And the proof is, look what people do. Maaseh b'anshe Yerushalayim. Here's a story about the people of Jerusalem. שהיו עוקדים את לולביהם בגימוניות של זהב. They used to put like strings of gold, like small strings of gold. That's how they used to tie their lulavs. Here we have a story. בחוטי זהב עשויים כמשרשרת. It was strings of gold with like a chain. אמרו לו חכמים, the sages told Rabbi Meir, you're wrong. So he's telling him, what do you mean I'm wrong? Here's the story, here's the picture. Yeah, somebody painted it. You can see it. That's the picture. That's the way they used to do it. So he says, you don't see well enough under the picture. Look under the hadassim. Look under the aravais. What's going on? במינו היו עוקדים אותו מלמטה. You're going to see that it was tied with its own kind, but it was underneath the golden strings. In other words, they did have an aguda. They did tie it with something else. And the strings... On the bottom.
On the bottom where you hold it.
No. Okay. Or underneath the gold. Underneath the gold, there was another tying. Somewhere, it doesn't matter. Somewhere over there was another tie.
A regular tie, but
then the gold. Just to beautify it. That's right. במקום שאוחזים אותו ביד. Or, it's like you say maybe. במקום שאוחזים אותו ביד, in the place that they hold it in the hand, כלומר, maybe it doesn't show in the picture, because somebody painted the picture or something, yeah? כלומר, במקום שעוקדים את הלולב עם ההדסים והערבות, in the place that you tie the lulav with the hadas and הערבות, היו עוקדים אותו במינו, that's where you would tie it with its own kind. And in the place that it's seen, where you don't hold it, where it's in, they wanted to beautify it, ומאחר שנתקיימה מצוות אגד במינו, and now the mitzvah is done. שוב אין מקפודים על האגודים של למעלה. Now you don't care whatever is shown on the top, because it already has the mitzvah. שאינם באים אלא לנוי, because the rest is not there as a practical thing, it's only there as a beauty. והלכה כרבי מאיר, and halacha is like Rabbi Meir. You're allowed to add a fifth kind as long as you tie it with the regular kind. בגמרא אמרו, in the Gemara they said, לולב נוטלים בימין ואתרוג בשמאל. The lulav you take in the right hand and the etrog in the left hand. לפי שבלולב 3 מצוות, because the lulav has 3 commandments, לולב הרס וערבה, ובאתרוג מצווה אחת. And the etrog is just one. כן אמרו שמברכים על נטילת לולב, and why do you make the blessing on נטילת לולב? You should say נטילת אתרוג. He says, הואיל ובמינו גבוה ומכולן. It says, because it is taller from all the other ones. And if you're going to ask me, say, but that's not spiritual. Spiritual is the etrog, yeah? And just for Hasidus a little bit, we already learned that by the Jews, spiritual is very important, but practically down here on earth, it's what's the mitzvah is a practical mitzvah. In other words, the fact that it shows that in size the lulav is the biggest shows that the holiness over there is more than the etrog. Even though it appears the etrog is more spiritual, the mitzvah is specifically on the lulav.